between the Republicans and the Democrats in the United States. The redistricting row, which was rolled out by the Trump administration in Texas, has now reached California. And the key trigger behind this political storm is the upcoming midterm elections that is slated for November next year in 2026. On Thursday, the lawmakers of the state of California voted to approve a redistricting plan. The majorly Democrat administration has set in motion a plan to redraw California's congressional map, which will help the blue camp secure 5 more seats in the House of Representatives next year. Now, ahead of the vote, the Republican lawmakers in California slammed the Democrats for this move, but the Democrat lawmakers in their retort said that the move was in response to what the red camp was doing in Texas for Donald Trump.
This plan is a violation of what little public trust we have left with Californians. It's expensive, it's rushed, and it's done without the consent of the very people that we claim to be protecting. And if it can happen here, it can happen anywhere. And I don't agree that it should happen anywhere.
And it's going to get worse, and you're going to get more. And it's not going to be on us. Because we are doing everything we can in California to stop it. We're not doing this to the people. We're doing this with the people. And we are asking the people on November 4th to validate our fear of Donald Trump's power.
The state administration has now decided to undertake this overhaul on the basis of a public vote, following the approval of a new map and a bill calling for citizens' vote. California's Governor Gavin Newsom has signed the legislation for a special election. The polls will be held on the 4th of November.
This was not something 6 weeks ago that I ever imagined we would be doing. This was being done in response from Texas. This was not an organized effort. This was a reaction to an assault on our democracy in Texas. And we're going to continue to support those that are of like mind to get the vote out and to get the word about what this is all about.
Now, the Republicans first set this putsch in motion have also approved the new congressional map for Texas. And this is expected to put the Republicans in a favorable position in the next year's midterm polls. The measure was finally passed in the state's lower chamber by about 88 votes to 52, creating 5 new Republican-friendly districts. In the United States, individual states legally have the power to redraw their districts, usually once a decade after the census. But the Republicans, at the behest of Donald Trump, are now pushing for mid-decade map changes in states such as Ohio, Missouri, New Hampshire, South Carolina and Florida. So as criticism rises against Donald Trump, his popularity is a bit unstable and protests are breaking out against every move. The stakes, of course, could not be higher for the American president. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Mr. Christopher Hale, who is a Democrat strategist, and he's worked for Presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden in the White House and has also been on the campaign trail. Mr. Hale, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, the Democrat governor, Gavin Newsom, said that this reaction in California, this action is actually a reaction to what has happened in Texas, which he describes as an assault on America's democracy. If what happened in Texas was an assault on America's democracy, why is he doing exactly the same thing in California?
I think we have to fight fire with fire. I think the reality of it is that if we allow the Republicans to rig Texas, which, you know, they got picked up 5 seats, I believe, and we don't do the same, that is actually abdicating our responsibility. We don't like this. We didn't start this fight, and let's be clear: it started with Governor Abbott in Texas, and it was orchestrated by the White House. We know that the White House is trying to get Indiana to change its seats, and other states to have 1 or 2 Democratic seats. So I think this is a fight that we did not choose. But why would we advocate? Why would we let Texas do this and not fight back? What's your suggestion otherwise, that we just let them go and rig the system and have a situation where Democrats win 53, 54% of the popular vote, but don't get the majority in the House. This is the only pathway forward.
You know, it's interesting that you're describing this entire exercise as effectively as a rigging an election. It is legally permissible, but there are a lot of question marks about is it something that can be done just because it is legal. So will we now witness this in state after state in the United States of America, where the governing party will go ahead and redraw the districts, or probably the judiciary could perhaps step in and say that this is effectively another way of rigging from the back door?
I think that is hopefully the end situation here is that the courts will step up. There is a wide legal pathway for gerrymandering, but if we get to such extreme levels, I hope that judicial process for the Supreme Court can get rid of this. I mean, we see gerrymandering, and let's be real, both parties do it, but the Republicans are clearly on the offensive here. But yes, without the court stepping in, we will see the most ridiculous gerrymandered maps, and not just like in a couple of years, the next 3 to 6 months. The election next year will be a circus with maps that, I mean, just look at the map in Texas and look at the map in California. These are not districts. These are politicians choosing their voters not choosing their politicians. So without the court stepping in, this is our reality in the United States.
Interesting. It is politicians choosing their voters and not the other way around, as you'd expect in a democracy. Voters choosing their politicians. We'll have to see as to how this unfolds. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Christopher Hale, for joining us with our perspective there.
Thank you for having me.